Have you ever felt a profound shift in your life, as though something inside you was quietly waking up? A sudden awareness of how much more there is to existence than what you've been taught to see. Spiritual awakening is not a straight line. It is a spiral. A living, breathing evolution that curves and loops like DNA itself. Some move quickly through its turns, others linger in certain places for years, but each path is precisely shaped for the soul walking it. Today, we'll explore the 5 stages of spiritual awakening, not as rigid steps, but as reflections that may help you recognize where you are in the unfolding of your own consciousness. Pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and let this be not just information, but remembrance. The journey begins where most human stories begin, inside the dream of the ego. Here, we are deeply identified with our thoughts, emotions, and personal narratives. We mistake them for who we are. In this stage, life feels reactive. The world seems to be happening to us, not through us. We seek control and certainty, yet live at the mercy of circumstances. Anger, fear, and defensiveness rise easily because the ego's foundation is built on survival. The sense of I becomes entangled with roles and conditions, our job, our beliefs, our appearance. The deeper truth of being remains hidden behind layers of identity and projection. Our perception of others is also blurred. We see them not as they are, but as mirrors of our own wounds, desires, and expectations. The result is isolation, the illusion of separateness. And yet, even here, something within whispers. There must be more than this. That whisper is the soul's first signal, the dawn before awakening. When the whisper becomes too strong to ignore, life begins to shake the foundations of who we think we are. This is the stage of ego death, one of the most misunderstood yet sacred passages of awakening. Here, the identity we've carefully built, the one made of names, stories, and memories, begins to fall apart. Old beliefs about God, life, and self are stripped away. It can feel like loss, emptiness, or even despair. But what is actually dying is illusion. This is the dark night of the soul spoken of by mystics across ages. The Buddhist might call it the breaking of attachment. The yogi, a step toward samadhi. The Christian mystic, the surrender before grace. It is terrifying and liberating at once. The walls of self dissolve, revealing something vast, the quiet presence of the observer self. You begin to realize, I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. I am that which witnesses them. In this recognition, even if fleeting, the first true light of awakening dawns. It is the moment consciousness begins to see itself. Pause. If you've ever felt everything you thought you were crumble, yet something deeper remained perfectly still, you've tasted this stage. Once the old identity collapses, an inner hunger arises, a longing to know. This is the search. It begins as a quest for understanding, but quickly becomes a journey of remembrance. We read, meditate, pray, and listen to teachers who speak the language of the soul. We ask, who am I? Why am I here? What is the nature of God? Yet the truth behind this seeking is beautiful. It's not really that you are searching for the divine. It's that the divine is searching for itself through you. Every longing is love calling you home. Every new insight, every aha moment is your higher self pulling the veil aside. The search is not about accumulating knowledge, it's about refining perception. It's where curiosity becomes devotion, and understanding begins to shift from the mind to the heart. But this shift isn't a rejection of the mind, it is a reconciliation. True awakening doesn't dismiss reason or thought, it redeems them. The heart opens, yes, and the mind, through practice, becomes its luminous partner. When the two join, they form a bridge between heaven and earth, spirit and form. The mind serving as the instrument of clarity, the heart as the instrument of compassion, and the soul or higher self flowing through both like music through a flute. This is the great alchemy of awakening, where intellect becomes illuminated by love, and love becomes intelligent through understanding. Pause. Reflect for a moment. Are you seeking something higher right now? Or has that something higher already begun seeking you, through both your heart and your mind? In this stage, the soul begins to move outward, no longer content to live only within quiet realizations or private insights. What was once an inner awakening now seeks expression in the world. This is the emergence of the authentic self. The masks once worn for safety or approval no longer fit. The old roles, the small pretenses, they fall away naturally, not through rebellion, but through truth. What remains is something profoundly simple, the genuine being that God intended you to be. Authenticity here is not a performance of individuality. It is the surrender of everything false. It is alignment between what you feel, what you know, and what you express. And through that alignment, love begins to take form as service. True service does not come from obligation or from the ego's desire to feel useful. It rises spontaneously from the recognition of unity. The heart sees another's suffering and cannot help but respond. The mind recognizes another's confusion and gently offers clarity. The soul itself begins to act through the personality as a conduit of healing and light. At this stage, self-expression and selfless service merge into one current. Whether through art, words, parenting, teaching, or quiet presence, the awakened one begins to serve life itself. Each act becomes a prayer, each offering an extension of love. Old patterns of self-concern dissolve as the energy of life moves more freely through the individual. There is joy in giving, not as sacrifice, but as natural rhythm, like a flower opening because it can't stay closed any longer. Even when the outer life shifts, when jobs change, relationships evolve, or familiar structures fall away, the center within remains anchored in love. It knows that whatever is lost is making room for greater authenticity, for clearer service, for a deeper embodiment of soul. This is where the personality becomes transparent to the soul, no longer an obstacle but an instrument. The individual doesn't tremble in uncertainty. They shine with purpose, love, and peace. They understand now that love is not merely an emotion to be felt, but a universal energy to be lived. It is the soul made visible through simple, selfless service. The meeting of heaven and earth through a human heart that has remembered what it truly is. This next stage, awakening, ripens into spiritual embodiment. What once felt like a spiritual journey now becomes a simple, steady way of living. Love no longer comes and goes. It abides as the quiet current beneath every word and gesture, thought and motive. This is not the love of emotion or attachment. It is the love that sees itself everywhere, in each face, each breath, each unfolding moment. The soul no longer seeks enlightenment. It expresses enlightenment through presence, kindness, and action. A life of alignment is a life of harmony, where inner truth and outer expression flow together without resistance. The mind and heart move as one, instruments of a single intelligence. Thought serves love, action serves peace, and everything becomes a form of service, whether spoken or silent. Here, service is not an act, It is a state of being. Every interaction becomes an offering. Listening becomes prayer. Work becomes worship. The awakened one no longer asks, well, what can I gain? But rather, how can I give, not as obligation, but as joy? In this alignment, forgiveness arises naturally. Compassion becomes effortless. The awakened soul recognizes the sacred innocence in all beings, even in those still lost in illusion. To see the divine in others is no longer a practice. It is perception itself. To serve others is no longer a choice. It is one's nature. The boundaries between inner and outer life dissolve. The world is no longer something happening to you. It is something happening through you, as though God breathes, speaks and loves, through the space that once felt like you. This is unconditional love, not sentimental or selective, but radiant and impersonal. It blesses without expectation. It gives without fear of loss. It recognizes that all service is self-service, because there is only one self. Living in alignment means walking gently upon the earth, honoring all forms of life, and serving the divine wherever it appears. In the child, the stranger, the friend, the broken, the beautiful, and the ordinary. This is the peace that passes understanding. It is not found in withdrawal from the world, but in full participation, in the willingness to love, to give, to forgive, and to begin again, moment by moment. The journey that began as awakening now reveals its deeper purpose, to become love itself. Love as awareness, love as service, love as life lived in full remembrance of the divine. Here, the circle closes, or perhaps opens endlessly. There is no destination, no final stage, only deeper intimacy with the eternal. Each breath becomes communion. Each act, devotion. Each day, another chance to serve. This is the life of alignment. A soul in harmony with itself, a being at peace with all, and a heart so open that God has room to live there, loving the world through you. As awakening ripens in us, it becomes less about rising above life, and more about resting deeply within it. Judgment fades, not by effort, but because the one who divided life into right and wrong is no longer at the center. What remains is simple seeing. Joy and sorrow, gain and loss, all move through the same open sky. We begin to recognize the sacred in everything, in a breath, in a stranger's eyes, in the sound of wind through trees. There is no aversion here, no preference, only pure awareness, participating in whichever way serves best. Life lives itself, and love observes in quiet wonder. Service flows naturally, like water moving downhill, unforced, unclaimed, the heart meeting the moment as it is, offering what it can, receiving what it must. And may we remember, even in ordinary moments, that all things belong, that the simple and the profound are not two. May we rest in the wholeness that holds both light and shadow, and allow the soul, steady, vast, unhurried, to continue its silent prayer through us, to see clearly, to love fully, and to hold all of life equally. Each of us is walking our own luminous path back to the heart of being. These stages are not a checklist to complete, but a rhythm to dance with, one that repeats and deepens through lifetimes. There is no rush. The awakening of consciousness is the universe remembering itself through you. If this journey resonated with your own, share it with someone whose light is stirring. And if you'd like to continue exploring the mysteries of consciousness, remember to like, subscribe, and comment below, because your reflection helps awaken others too.